Peace be upon you. Let's look at the week ahead. All signs. I'm going to pull a card for each of you. And finish up with oracles. If you'd be so kind, since most of us have them all present in our chart, and listen to the entire wheel if you are seeking for further, deeper insight. Aries energy is a Four of Pentacles, holding on to something. But I feel it rather more as an acknowledgement, a recognition of sufficiency, of having enough. Okay, so it's focused on what one has in their hands to work with. It's a pondering, it's preparing to make the most out of a situation. Very practical, very down to earth, beautiful energy. Taurus. Taurus is a Six of Wands in reverse, an information that brings a closure, associated, of course, with a sense of either failure on something that you were working on. If you are hoping or associating something that you are pursuing with advancement, the news you're going to get are going to be obviously not in your favor or negative, but again, there's a sense of closure in that. Time to move forward. Gemini, King of Pentacles in reverse. I feel strongly in this sense that you don't want others to believe or think or feel that you are their bank, literally. You don't want others to rely on you or see you strictly for what you can provide for them. Powerful process you're going through over there. Obviously, this may translate, or it was brought upon due to certain challenges, either at work, choices in career, you're reevaluating, you're definitely dissatisfied. I don't think in the outcome or the pay itself or your financial situation, but rather what's this all for, right? And you may have recognized avarice in the people in your life, or you're actually associating your job or your finances with how other people see you, interact with you, what you represent to others, or your own choices when it comes to relationships. And therefore, you're really looking deeper at your relationship, generally speaking, and due to the tests of literal time and the circumstances, you're starting to realize that to some, you may actually be considered of value when you provide. And that's painful, but it's necessary. It's a necessary assessment for you to make the needed changes, long overdue. Cancer, you have a new beginning. There's a release or liberation that you're experiencing. You don't care about what you're leaving behind. You're not leaving everything behind. You still have with you what you deem to be most loyal or closest to your heart or long last dream. It may be as simple as you making a decision to nurture that inner child, follow a passion, learn something new, explore, and not be conditioned by the people's expectations, opinions, not be emotionally manipulated, and so on. The issue with that is that you may be acting in a way that doesn't clearly reflect your actual commitments, responsibilities. So you see it as liberation. Others may actually have a point in saying, wait, how about us? You don't care at this point, and that's fine, as long as you're clear and honest about that. And yeah, that's it. You're literally just letting something go, moving away from something, with no reminiscing, no regrets, no nothing, no care in the world. It's a bit risky when it comes to the business front. You're starting from scratch, you have no plan, and you seem to have left the experience or anyone involved in your past experiences completely behind. Careful about your health. If necessary, consult anyone whom you deem wise, clear-sighted, clear-minded. And may you be guided. Leo, there's a Four of Swords energy in reverse. You're not ready. Don't push. We have a card here that's sitting upright, hidden. Virgo. Virgo, you're absolutely stable. You're sharper with your speech. You're honest to a fault. People admire and appreciate that about you. There's acknowledgement for your truthfulness, your honesty, your just common sense, generally speaking. You're considered the wise advisor, just, fair, balanced, and rational. You have the solutions, the knowledge, the wisdom. And you are the one who's gonna say what needs to be said when everybody else fails to do so. Very beautiful. Libra. Libra, you have a Two of Wands, a choice in pathways. You're right at the crossroads. You feel as if you're gambling. If you're thinking that anyone else may be involved in the process, you're wrong. It's you versus you, the old versus the new. Scorpio. Scorpio, Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Coming into harvest season, it's absolutely natural for you to reap what you've sown. Not all of it was good, for none of us was. There are certain things that you actually recognize instantly as well. I guess I kind of had this coming. It's very mature, it's very empowering. And then shift back your focus to the rewards for proper action, for heartfelt action, for selfless service, for, right, anything else that you've conquered. Because, right, you can't have one without the other. So yeah, I may have missed this train, but hey, I caught this one and it led me this here, and I've achieved this, and right, so balance. Sag, the King of Cups, an open heart. It doesn't matter what you've done up until this point. You have a big heart and you're about to prove that. So you're about to either make a gift, offer some blessing to the less fortunate, or you're really the one that people run to in hopes that you would understand them, to listen, to heal their broken wounds, to relate, to show support, to, right, just very empathetic and kind. But you also have a foresight. You grasp certain deeper hidden aspects of people's actual feelings, emotions, and inner lives and stages beyond what is being said or appearances. In other words, you see hearts. That's what you're basing your actions on. And you're in a very giving stage. Capricorn, the Ten of Cups. The fulfillment of what you've been working for up until this point. To others, you may have translated in a specific manner, but in your heart, you knew what you always wanted, and you're getting it. You worked hard to get it. Aquarius, a Page of Swords, learning something new, a new approach, a new shift in perspective, or just being excited about something, following down rabbit holes, whether it's information, knowledge, spirituality, career or job, work-wise, and so on. Maybe also interacting with children. So you may be acting as a guide, as a tutor, as a mentor in some sense. Beautiful. Assisting the younger generation. Beautiful. And you kind of relate to that, as in you see a side of you in them. It's very beautiful. Thank you for your service. Pisces, you have the Six of Swords. It's time to move forward from something that was consuming you or you were stuck on for a while, whether it was obsessive or just not being able to forget or let something go, may have been trauma. And either way, you're moving across the waters, you're facing your own emotions as they rise, but you've already managed to overcome the hardest parts of this journey. So the decisions have been made already, the actions have been taken necessary for you to get yourself out of a situation, whether it was depression, the mental state, maybe something contributed to that, or someone, or either way, you're leaving the past behind you. You're moving towards healing, towards literally calmer waters. You feel guided, and you take what's most precious to you, and you're moving forward. Now, practical wise, this may translate living a very toxic environment, leaving a job, leaving your current home for another one, traveling, returning to your original place of residence, and so on. Either way, it's a very emotional journey for you. Children may be involved. You may be traveling over waters, literally and physically. You may be traveling for commerce because you see opportunities or better resources or access to better resources. If there are children involved, you're doing this literally for them, for giving them better opportunities. But I strongly feel that yes, there's also some escaping something, as in you processing it as in, I need to leave this behind. But you have also this understanding that this was necessary. What's behind is irrelevant. As a matter of fact, the farthest from it you go, the better chances of you actually finding fulfillment is possible. You're not too focused about the destination either. You're very present at this time. All you care is that you've managed to overcome, to survive something. So it may be a marriage, whereas you had, or a higher level of commitment, or living with someone that was, or in a relationship that was extremely toxic, and you're leaving it behind. So either way, you're leaving something behind. And that's very courageous, and may continue to be guided. However this may translate into practical, there are better opportunities elsewhere. Very powerful energies for all of you. This is pretty much what we had. Let's see. 39, take advice in reverse. Some of you don't need it. You may actually give it. You may find yourself, maybe I'm the one who's supposed to impart and give it. And if only I release expectations or fears when it comes to what others do with what I have to say. You are like a witness. You give your testimonial. It's a beautiful blessing and gift that you give into the world. If you impart your honest, most deepest experiences, findings, realizations, trials, challenges, fears, etc. You never know who may actually, resonate with that, or say, oh, so I wasn't the only one. You may encourage others to do the same, so that they're no longer conditioned or fearful or feel alone or disconnected. And for others, it's just the difficulties that they were having in recognizing what was fair advice and what was someone's self-interest. Hence, they were biased or even, deceptive in the advice that they've given. Hence, why it hasn't worked. Sometimes, even if the advice is good, if given from a corrupt heart, it's the same with food. You don't take it from someone who cooks with anger, right? You don't eat that food. It's charged, it's infused with something. So even if it's the best food in the world, would you want it if someone gave it to you with hatred or, right, disconnect, and you put it in your body? What does that turn into? How will that affect you? So understanding that it's energy, and recognizing an honest advice given by someone who is even doing so at the cost or at the expense of their own well-being, or sometimes at the risk, taking that risk of losing the friendship with you, with whatever benefits that may entail, whether emotional, financial, or losing a good friend only for telling them what your opinion is. It may not be the absolute truth, but it's your truth, how you see it. And if we owe anything to anyone we claim to be friends of, it's the truth, it's honesty, right? So you may have taken certain things someone said, sometimes even complete strangers, which is strange, right? In a terrible manner, so you're reluctant to take advice. You may perceive advice as criticism, but how could it be? The person, for example, would have nothing out of it. As a matter of fact, they would stand to lose by telling you that. What's important is the information itself. Can you ponder it objectively and see if there could be any truth in that? Of course there is, otherwise you wouldn't be triggered by it. Upheaval. Da. Hi, da, Sasha. Hi. Hi, Mama. Da. 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 Vision and diplomacy, again, and the shift in perspective, wisdom energy. We had it in the last slide reversed. Number 5, necessary changes to be made, also understanding how the tide is shifting and determining what you're willing to do and for what, right? They say everybody has a price. Is it more convenient for you to raise the stand against something? Or if you do, in what manner, for what reason, what do you hope to obtain? What could be the possible consequences? Is it more reasonable for you to just ignore or let something go entirely? Or is it possible that you don't have to do what everybody else does, but if something rises within you, you may find your own way to follow that along and, approach or apply said, act according to said emotion or understanding or spark or passion that rises within you, right? Sometimes it may translate as something very negative, outrage, for example. If you're outraged about something, you may be looking to the left and right, see what anybody else does that may feel the same way you do. But remember, you are your own person. You can find another way in your own manner, based on your own possibilities, your own set of skills, and your own unique nature, and see how you're gonna follow along or work with this energy. What are you personally able, capable, and what do you choose to do with that or about that? Sometimes it may be a calling, literally, that may lead you along your way. And again, don't make a paragon. Don't compare it. Sorry, don't compare it with what anyone else does. So no matter what, don't follow the crowd. Doesn't mean that the fact that a crowd is going in a direction is not, saying something. But again, all the more reason for you to question, ponder, and make your own decisions. In other words, don't be neither distracted. Don't put something on the side. If it's there for a reason. But don't be misled, nor impulsive or conditioned, manipulated, or herded either. Seduction. And I would hope that this is in reverse, in the sense of seduction never leads to anything good because it's an alluring energy. It implies someone's personal will trespassing or trying to influence someone else's. That's always a transgression, no matter the reason. Though in times of love and war, one may argue that's absolutely natural. It could be. It could be. Either way, if you've tried it in the past and it hasn't worked, maybe it's time for you to drop it. Only the weak consider that they need tools and secret knowledge in order to attract or manifest something. And the faithless, because somehow there's something within them telling them that they will never get that. So they might as well take it in their own hands and try and get it. And that's a lack of trust, faith. It's fear. Then again, if you really want or need something, it's on you to take a chance and see if you can obtain it any other way other than the natural, organic, divine way. But anyone who is in their power has released this kind of dynamics because whatever's mine will come to me. I'm here for a purpose, right? So whatever I need to complete or fulfill said purpose, I will get it. If love is what I need, that's what I will get. In the meantime, focus on what you put out. and what you do with what you've already received. Birth in reverse. Again, using tactics. Let's be honest about something. Humanity at this stage hates salesmen. Commerce is going to be highly problematic because it's no longer going to work the way it used to. So welcome to a bartering system, whereas people take the freedom of learning to give things in their own manner, subjectively, the value that they want to put on it, and be willing to pay the price that another may demand for it. So everyone has to determine what they want, how bad do they want it, what do they have to pay for it, and who can and is willing to trade with them. So it's going to be an exchange, an actual genuine trade. No games, no, it's just outright needs expressed. Listen, I want this piece of gold. What do you want for it? Listen, I only have this to offer. That's it. People have to be absolutely and completely honest. You never know. A man may be willing for 3 eggs because his family's starving to give you something that would be in the old system worth a lot more than that. And even for you, whatever you get for it, for you the value of it may not be the brand of it, but maybe the material that it's made from. Because maybe you're an artist and you're trying to get your hands on some good quality materials that are no longer, they're scarce, or they're tainted, or chemicals have been used, and so on. So each of us is called to determine what they need and be willing to find the right person that wants what they have in return. Either way, things are changing. Our resources of water, food, and back to basics. But the emotional needs are also extremely important. So things are going to be taken a lot more seriously than they were up until now. So on one end, people will, obviously, the fearful will compete and it would be chaos. And on the other, the wise are setting up the foundations for the new system. Collaboration, cooperation, partnership, alignment, respecting other people's nature, will, need, not forcing things, no lying, no cheating, no backstabbing, no manipulating, no disrespecting, no nothing. So anything that can be achieved on friendly terms, and naturally so, should happen. Anything else that would require anyone to do any type of scheming or forcing or convincing on should be dropped altogether and keep it moving. Don't force. As for resources, you're going to be guided towards certain resources, not all of them. But, seminars, people are going to play on this as well. Seminars about, I don't know, just basic gardening, for example, are being, sold and promoted right now. Curiously enough, though, half lies, half truths, right? By the salesmen, let's call them, that promote these seminars, are at the same time speaking of actual very powerful information in regards to weather patterns, for example, phenomena that are quite strange and defy logic or reasoning, and that we are all called to maybe look at it with different eyes and reassess and reevaluate. Isn't it curious how at one point you're speaking about how man, which I would disagree with, but yeah, has tempered with nature, and we're paying the consequences for that. So the future looks a bit grim. We're all being put to the test here, while at the same time promoting gardening courses, seminars. Are you kidding me? So on one end, you're telling us we're all going to starve, and on the other, they're actually making money out of fear mongering. of course they will use truth to do so, because yeah, that data is there, anybody can check on it. And so Sister Eugenia at Endless Compassion, tranquilityrx.com would say this is the month on her calendar. It would be the month of preparation. I would argue at this point, this month is a month of prepping, rather. So some will get extremely fierce and more ruthless than ever. There's this, because it's based on fear. There's no wisdom in it. There's just primal instinct of survival. And I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying no, that everybody's out for themselves right now. Whereas the wise would be advised to be in it for anything other than themselves. Find something worth fighting for. Then you would be a lot more wary. Because first and foremost, yes, we are here all to support the youngsters, right? The new generation, the children. Because I don't know if you noticed, it's all about the children. But it's also important. What kind of what kind of values do we leave behind? How do we inspire them? What's the new morality that is acceptable at this point? Because the old one hasn't worked. So, back to basics in all the senses of the word. Of course, revisited, adapted, adjusted, and applied subjectively according to one's circumstances. So, yeah, wisdom, and yeah, let me shut up. Just remember, no one can judge you but God. And if you're a non-believer, it's that inner conscience, that voice. Yeah. Conception. The frequency of conception invites us to bring our consciousness to our origin, the place where everything in creation begins. It helps us to remember the infinite potential and possibilities of the space and what we can manifest through our own focused awareness and intention. Back to the beginning, return to, well, innocence. Looking at it from our current stance, one may argue, well, it looked a bit grim. Yeah, we had a lot of things to change, and we did. We did. We kind of drifted away too far, a bit too far. But yeah, we did find solutions for many of those issues we were, for example, sanitation, and yep, yep. But now we need to return to the basics when it comes to principles, foundations, beliefs, systems of beliefs. How do we align more with nature? Well, as you've seen, in nature there's an order to things, whereas if one expands too much, then something else may come to suffer or lack. So balance is very natural to understand, especially when we understand that we are a part of the all. The moment we expand too much, something has to restrict us. What does too much mean? As in, too much it simply means that we require something that we do not need, and we do so automatically to the detriment of someone else. And nature cannot let that happen. I am enough, I have enough. That's all that matters. Affirmation. So getting something, yes, but at whose detriment? And what for? What's the price you pay for it, ultimately? So remember, it's better to pay forward, make a clear agreement. It reminds me of, what was his name? though it slips my tongue. Anyway, the king that went to war, before going to war, I'm going to win this war. He made a covenant with God. Go figure. He figured he would promise God that if he wins the war, the first person to greet him as he came back would be his sacrifice. Of course, God never agreed to it. They say that if you promise something that's for the betterment or with the purest of intentions, God doesn't even listen to it, So when he came back, after a long time, his only daughter was the first to greet him, of course. Moron. And he was supposed to sacrifice her. But of course, the covenant never existed. He was meant to win that war anyway, because it was something bigger and more relevant than just him. It wasn't in his hands all along. Never was. He was crucial, yes. Either way, she was sent into exile, basically, unwed, and the sacrifice ultimately was for her to not have a family. I spend 10 minutes observing instead of speaking. I sit quietly with myself and I perceive how the body feels. How do you feel in your own skin nowadays? I'm wondering. Your reminder is you have been created for consciousness. Blessings.